Hi, welcome CSPers. We're going to be looking at some lists, which are variables that actually store more than what we're used to. So when we started, we actually had variables that could only store either a number or a string. Um, but actually, we could use variables to store multiple strings or multiple numbers. So I really want to highlight this first list on line number 2. We start off our variable the same way. We declare var and we give it a name. But in this case, teachers does not just hold one value, it holds 3. And these are different teachers' names. And I did the same thing for classes. Um, and I listed some classes that these people teach. And these are two important things. So when we have lists, we actually want to retrieve the information in some way. In this case, we're going to use a list to what we call index each item. So we're going to break that down slowly. When we look at um, this first list, if I want to index the item, there's a way I can do this. If I want to display, let's say, the first item in a list, I index it by writing the list name. So this is teachers. And then I use brackets. And if I write 0, it actually will display the very first item on the list, which is Tommy. So let's run this code and we'll see what happens. So it says Tommy right here. If I wanted to display the second item, I could do the same thing, but I would change it to a 1. And that's not going to display Tommy, but it should now display Alekia. And let's see if that works. And it does. So this is what we call indexing. You write the name of the variable, and then you indicate the position. The very first item is 0. The second item is going to be 1. And actually the third item, so if I want Chris, put 2 in here. Chris. But enough of that. Because we actually want to use a loop, which is what we learned can repeat code multiple times. So loops are actually really made for traversing lists. So if you notice, we started off lists with the item 0. And that's because lists start off with the item 0. So we always start with I equals 0. And then we set our condition just like we learned before. And in this case, there's this thing called teachers.length. So that means this is going to repeat at the length of this list. So this is going to repeat 3 times. And our step size is 1. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to find all the teachers who teach math. So I used an if statement where I indexed each item in classes. So it's going to check when I equals 0, it's going to say, is CS equal to math? And that's false, so nothing's going to happen. The loop's going to repeat, and I is going to increase to 2. Is math equal to math? And that should hold true. And then it's going to repeat again. And is English equal to math? And it shouldn't. So the only thing that we want to write is the teacher's name who teaches that class. So in this case, it is Alekia. I'm going to slow this code down and run it. We got to our loop and nothing's displayed yet. When I step over, it checks our condition. I'll display I. So we can see I is 0 and 0 is less than 3. So it's going to run the code. When I click step over, it's checking. Is the index class is 0, which is CS equal to math, and that's false. So the code's just going to repeat again. I is going to increase to 1. 1 is less than 3. It's going to check, is the classes of 1 equal to math? And that actually is true. So the if statement is going to run. And we should see Alekia show up on the screen, and it does. And then it's going to run the loop one more time. In this case, English is not equal to math, so nothing's going to happen, and our code's done. This stuff's cool. We could also maybe check like If any teacher teaches, let's say CS, and now when we run the code, this should be true on the very first one, so it's going to say Tommy, and then it's going to check again, and the other two aren't true. So again, this is just some cool stuff we can do, and we're going to go over it more in class, but thank you for watching.